All right, Chris Petri back, part 2. You made it. Absolutely exciting. You're back, part 2. Hopefully you watched part 1. Did everyone watch part 1? Please go back, watch part 1. We actually did the preliminary sketch for this watercolor painting. We're doing flowers. Absolutely exciting painting. Flowers are like the gift to artists. Colors, lots of colors. Beautiful tonal values, great shapes, tons of interesting shapes. Just a whole array of exciting material when you paint flowers. So even if flowers aren't your favorite subject matter, you can always just do them to practice up on your skills, your drawing skills, your painting skills. Okay, let's get back into it. So we did part 1. Go back part 1 if you didn't see it. You'll have fun. You'll learn how we did this first part, drawing. And we got started and we did our the start of our painting. We got plenty of beautiful color in here. Again, I'm going a little bit fast here. You can take your time a little more once you get yourself set up and you have your all your art supplies. You have your paints, your brushes, your pencils, your paper. Once you get set up and you're comfortable, you can take your time more. But if you just, here we're just doing pretty much the, I don't know, I guess like the nuts and bolts of doing this small flower arrangement. So in part 1 we did this up to this point here. We noticed that we carved out our beautiful daisy here with darks, which was burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, a little bit of burnt sienna, and you can carve out your shapes of your flowers by negative shape painting, which is painting around the object with a darker color, and then your object appears. So our daisy appeared when we painted the darks around it, as you can see. And we got some beautiful other shapes of colors here. So we use some cerulean blue. And we'll use some, this is sap green, cobalt blue. And we want to get some greens in here. Greens look fantastic in your floral paintings. You can vary the tonal values. So here I'm going to make a couple shapes of green. Again, if something isn't looking good and you feel you need to lift some paint, go for it. You take some tissue, lift it up. Here, you can let that dry if you want, or you can go in. And I just decided to do a little bit more. Here you can take some cadmium lemon yellow. A little interesting, exciting yellow color here and there. Okay, now, since I'm doing a small comp here, we're having fun, we're creating some flower shapes, and I think I'm going to let this kind of, be good at this point here with the flowers. And then I'm going to mix a little more mineral violet here. And I'm going to let that be my floral arrangement. For the most part, that's going to be fine. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start doing the vase below this. So there I see some burnt umber. I'm looking at a photograph in the book here. A little bit of alizarin crimson. The vase is a little darker under here, as you can see. That would be in shadow because the flowers are above this and over the top of the vase. So you're going to get that shadowing effect. Then we can go in and we can add some yellow ochre. Then we should always keep in mind, keep our palette clean. So I'm going to do some quick we'll clean up the palette just a little bit like that. We're ready to go in with fresh colors. Let's go in with some cerulean blue, some alizarin crimson, and maybe some raw sienna. And maybe even some sap green. And we'll mix it in, we'll get a little bit of a nice gray. And I'll go in with some more alizarin crimson, maybe warm it up a little more. And again here the idea is some nice variety. Let's get some shadow in there. So let's do some French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, and we'll get a little shadow under the vase. Okay, now we can have this area set on our palette to start just mixing our grays up. Green, cerulean blue, some yellow ochre, alizarin crimson. And we can have some fun. And we can really zip along here. We can move around to different sections of the painting to get different colors. So now, if we're using the same, see how these are all mixed? If you just mix these a little bit here and there, you can get some good, interesting shapes and colors. You can go on the other side of the palette, mix up a little more so we're just kind of using the palette with our colors that we've mixed to get some interesting. I'll use a little bit of cadmium lemon yellow, and we'll use some gray mixture here. We'll go to a larger brush. Here's where we can have some real fun. We go to a larger brush, quite a bit larger. This is a 12. And then with that larger brush, we can start getting in some fantastic grays, some mixtures here. Again, we're going in with our mixtures of grays, just color combinations mixed together. Then if you want to get a little more interesting effect, once you put your grays in, then you get like a definite color there, some cerulean blue, maybe some cadmium lemon yellow, then we can get into some burnt sienna and some yellow ochre, and we'll get some of that wood feel for like the wood table. And then back in, we'll get some more blue, cerulean blue, burnt umber, alizarin crimson. We're making up a nice gray here. We'll leave some interesting white paper. Then we can have some real fun. Sap green, alizarin crimson, burnt umber, more sap green, maybe a little bit of viridian green, and then we just go right across. That is the table. Then we can go in and add some interesting, some definitive color. Some mysterious colors. And then I'm going to go with the alizarin crimson now. We'll do some, here we're okay. We have some of that darker we have some darker tonal values on that small jar, so we're going to let that be as it is. And then again some burnt umber, cerulean blue. And now we're going to get some angles in here to make this look interesting. There we go, some angles. Maybe some more yellow. Some cadmium lemon yellow. And then you can see we're looking good. We have plenty of okay, so the source of our light is from the window as well as inside the room. And we have some good, I'm going to lift some paint. And I put a little bit of tonal value on this over here, this section. Cerulean blue, burnt umber, yellow ochre, cerulean blue. And we'll make a interesting okay. We have our coffee cup there, and we're going to use some French ultramarine blue and burnt umber. A little bit of shadowing. Same thing here, add a little more. If you see something looks a little bit, the tone values are a little bit light, add some more darks. Here we're going to go in and do our French ultramarine, burnt umber, burnt sienna. And we're going to do that nice, interesting little jar. Okay, so there we have our jar. And then you can touch this up once it dries. You can do a little more touch up here. And we have a dark here. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber. And this is a palette. Here we'll go into some more burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, olive green, and we'll do some of that interesting shapes along the window. I'm sticking with the larger brush here just to help things go along nicely here. And a little bit of splashing. Okay, I like to add splashing to my paintings here. Give a little bit more interesting look. Okay, that's about it. So this is part 2. We finished up our painting. We added in our middle tones. We started out with our darks in part 1, our darkest tonal values in part 1. Part 2, we finished up with our middle tonal values, left some lights and some whites of paper. And this is just an idea of the fun and the freshness and excitement of watercolor. You can go and you can do these compositions, fun, fast, free, have a good time with it. Do 3 or 4 of these, and then maybe you might decide, hey, I'm going to take my time on the 5th one and do like a real finished painting or something. And you know, you can like sort of slow everything down, take your time more, but it's good to kind of have fun and be loose and free and have a great time doing these faster compositions where you're just basically getting down some ideas that you might want to use to do maybe a finished painting. So although this is not a finished painting, this is a fun, loose, free exercise just to brush up on the skills, brush up on using the colors that we're going to mix, the tonal values that we're going to use in the painting as far as the darks and the lights. Lots of darks packed around the white of paper so that we can negative shape paint around these flowers and get those beautiful flowers, this daisy here and these other beautiful red flowers. We just had a lot of fun. We used lots of color. Have fun with this, no sweat. Have a great time with your watercolors. Of course, again, always enjoy, relax, have a good time, and the rest comes naturally. If you keep working at it, your paintings will get better and better every time. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll start up on the next video coming soon. Bye-bye.